Hey, welcome to the Year 10 Extended Practice Exam on the first semester's work now. I hope you've done some revision to make this all worthwhile. So let's have a look at this first question. And what I want you to do is you put your name on the top here, okay, and then what I'm going to do is give you 90 minutes to do it. What we're going to do is look at the first question, pause the presentation, and then I'll roll it on. You pause it, do the next question, try to do it about 1 minute per mark, and then at the end when you finish, check your work, and then I'm going to continue the video. So if you roll it, it'll go through the solutions then, watch me do it, and watch the mark scheme. So let's have a bit of fun with this. There's question 1. Okay, so pause the presentation and have a go. I think there are 9 marks for this first question. Okay, so come down now. Yep, there's 9 marks. Okay, here's question 2. Pause it and have a go. And going on now, down to, that was worth 7 marks. Down to question 3. I think these are worth about 9 marks between the lot of them. So pause the presentation, have a go. Let's go on now to question 4. I think this is also about a 9 mark question. There's several parts, so have a look at that too. Pause it, coming down to B and C, only 6 marks there. Okay, let's keep going. And question 5, finding the value of the pronumeral, the letter there. Okay, and part B, and C, and D. Okay, let's go on now. So into question 6. Question 7. Interesting little question there. Question 8, some expansions. And part C, and D. Okay, come down to question 9, factorising. Should be part B, another part A there, should be part B, part C and part D. And E and F. And then into question 10. I think there's only 11 questions in this one. And part B. And part C. And the last question here, question 11. I think there's 3 parts for this one. No, there's only the 2 parts. So how did you go? Check your work before watching the rest of the video. We're going to go back to the start now and watch me do the solutions so you know exactly how to do them, and also assigning marks. So here we go, let's go back. Okay, so here we are. $20,000 is to be invested for 3 years. Calculate the interest earned on each of the following to find which would give the best return. Okay, so we need to write down the formula for this one now. So let's do that. The future value, compound interest, is present value 1 plus I to the n, where n and I have to be adjusted depending on the time frame. So with the first one, what have we got here? Present value is 20,000. Let's write this out. 20,000, and the time is n years, so n is 3 years, and it's 5% per annum, 5% per annum, but it's quarterly. So we have to be careful with that. quarterly. So let's put it down here now, underneath. And what have we got? We want the future value, knowing that the present value is 20,000, 1 plus. Now the I is 0.05, but it's being done 4 times a year, so it's all got to be in quarters, and the years have to be in quarters. 4 quarters in a year to the 12th there. Okay, so you can do that in run mode on your calculator, or TVM on the calculator. And the answer we get here is 23,215.09. Just notice you should be able to enter all that with the correct bracketing straight on the calculator. So that's not the answer though, because we want the interest. The interest is the future value minus the present value. So that's $23,215.09. Must always have it to the nearest cent. Minus 20,000, the original amount that we invested. So there is the answer there, $3,215.09. Let's do part, so that's part 1. And if you're marking your work now, there's 1 for basically this expression, then 1 for the final answer. So 2 for that part. Okay, in part 2, let's have a look at part 2. Very similar, because the principal is still the same, but now the interest is different, so the interest rate and the time are different. So it's 1 plus, now the interest rate here is 4.5%. Every 2 months go up here is 6 times a year, so this is 0.045 divided into 6 times a year, and then in 3 years it's 3 by 6 is 18. And if you put that on the calculator, this comes to $22,879.21. Okay, so the interest again is the future value minus the present value, so it's $2,879.21. Money is always to the nearest cent, so just watch that. Okay, so that is, again, 1 mark for that and 1 mark for that. Let's just come across a little bit and do part 3. So with part 3, same idea, but we've got to adjust the situation here, and it is monthly. So it's 1 plus 0.04 divided by 12 months in a year, 3 years by 12, 36 months. And if you do that, it comes to $22,545.44. So they want the interest again, so take off the original $20,000, $2,545.44, the interest. So marking is still the same, 1 for that and 1 for the overall answer. Let's go down to the interesting question here, part B. Do you think, I'll put it over here, do you think the size of the investment would alter that means the present value would alter the best option? And so the best option was in part A, this one here, part 1, that was the best option there. Okay, so would it change it? No, the 20,000 doesn't have an effect, it's not important. What is important is what's in the brackets multiplying. Okay, this term, the multiplier, is the crucial part, the multiplier. And so for that, it's just 1 mark. You must give a reason, you can't just say no, because you could just be guessing. You must give a reason to get that mark. And then let's look at the multipliers. And the question suggests you put P dollars, so here, and what you're looking at is the effect of this multiplier here. That's part 1, and then part 2, it's 1 plus 0.045 over 6, all to the 18, and then the last one, 1 plus 0.04 divided by 12 to the 36. Okay, and those multipliers are 1.1608 for that one, and this one is 1.1440, lots of decimal places so that we can round off to the nearest cent, which is the second decimal place. So there we have it. So does that check it out? Well, yes, because the biggest multiplier is this. So there's 2 marks for finding those multipliers. Okay, so how are you going there? That was 9 marks altogether. You should have there 9 ticks if you got them all correct. Okay, so come down now and let's have a look. So give yourself a mark out of 9 there. Come down and let's have a look at the next question. In each of the following, use the compound interest formula to find the annual interest rate. So sales have grown from 26,900 to 78,000 in 11 years, calculate percentage growth per annum. Okay, so that's like a compound interest problem. So let's have a look at it like this now. And 26,900 grew to 78,000. So that was the future value. And it grew from 26,900. And percentage growth, we don't know, 1 plus I. And it was 11 years, and it was annually. Okay, so the interest rate and the time will be in years. If we rearrange this over here now, we're going to have 1 plus I to the 11th. Has come up a little bit here. And so therefore, if we raise this 7, 8 and bring it to 780 over 269, get rid of those zeros on the end, to the 1/11th, do you get that? If I find the 11th root of both sides, I will bring it back to 1 plus I. If I do this on the calculator now, I get 1.1016 equals 1 plus I. Take away 1, I get 0.1016 for the rate. And just taking this up here a little bit more, what that means is it's approximately, I is approximately 10.2% because it asked it to 1 decimal place. So you should, with rounding off, use that approximate sign and quote the level of accuracy. And this is the annual rate, so it's per annum, because everything was done annually. Okay, so let's have a look at the next one. So that's part A. Let's have a look at part B over here now. So part B is 7,900 accumulating to 9,000. So the future value is 9,000. The present value 7,900. 1 plus I will be, hang on, a half yearly rate. So this is 5 years done twice a year. Okay, so again, dividing 9,000 by 7,900 to isolate this term, 1 plus I to the 10th, and then let's get rid of the zeros, so 90 over 79 to the 1/10th root will give us 1 plus I. Okay, if you do that on the calculator, you get 1.01312. Lots of decimal places allow for rounding. So you take away the 1 from both sides. 0.1312 equals I. So what is this? Multiplying by 100, so I is approximately 1.312%. But this is per 6 months, half a year. So therefore I is approximately 2.62% per annum. Okay, and it said 1 decimal place, so we've got to get rid of that last decimal place there. So it's approximately 2.6% per annum, 1 decimal place. Okay, so just to make sure, you have to adjust the I here at the end because it's 6 monthly, so the annual rate will be double that. Let's have a look at the marking now. So there's 1 mark there, 1 mark for getting this point, and 1 mark for the answer. And in the other one, similar fashion, bit more work. So 1 mark here, 1 mark here, 1 mark for that I, but you need to adjust it for the annual rate. So that's a total out of 7. So give yourself a mark out of 7, come down here, out of 7 for that one. Hope you're getting some marks there. I hope you're also enjoying it. Okay, so let's look at question 3 now, and we'll just put that alongside. So here for 2 marks, let's just rearrange here. C has been multiplied by 3 and 7's been added. So let's reverse that. Take 7 away from both sides, you get that. And divide by 3, we'll get neg 2. Take 7, we haven't taken the 7 away. Take 7 is neg 9. So C is neg 9 divided by 3, neg 3. Remember, we do the opposite operations in reverse order. So check that. We've just got 2 marks. Easy 2 marks, that one. Now M has been times by neg 5, and this 6 is a positive 6. 6 was added, so let's reverse the steps. Let's take 6 away, so you'd have neg 5M equals neg 4. And then we'll divide both sides by neg 5, get neg 4 over, oh, hang on, I think I've got that wrong. Neg 4, take 6, hang on, let's go back here. I haven't taken 6 away again, I'm forgetting to do that step. So neg 4, take 6 is neg 10, divide by neg 5 is M equals 2. Okay, so I said it, but I didn't do the steps there where you had to actually take 6 away. So that was neg 10. All right, let's come down to this one here. What's been done to x? Been times by 5, then divided by 3, and then 2's been taken away. Let's reverse them in reverse order. We'll come over here. So let's add 2 to both sides. So we get 10, then we will reverse the division, multiply by 3, 5x equals 30, then dividing by 5 is 6. Okay. Right, so let's put in some marks. Sorry, I forgot the marks for this one here. So there's 1 mark for that, 1 for the answer. Over here, a similar sort of thing, 1 mark for getting there, 1 mark for the answer. So in our last one, down here, a plus 7 on 3 equals a, take 3 on 5. Let's clear the denominators first of all. So we're going to multiply by 15 on both sides. So 3 is going to 15 5 times. So that line's going to be that, and 5 into 15 goes 3 times. Okay, just watch that here. What we're doing is multiplying this side by 15 and this side by 15. So we're getting some cancelling there. Okay, that's the idea. So now let's expand the brackets. 5a plus 35 equals 3a, take 9. Subtract 3a from both sides, you'll have 2a plus 35 equals neg 9. And therefore, subtracting 35 from both sides, you'll have neg 44, and dividing by 2, you'll have neg 22. So a little bit more work in that one. I'll give you 3 marks for that. 1 for clearing the denominators, 1 for a bit of collection of terms, and 1 for the answer. So 4, 6, there's 9 marks for that question. Okay, so let's go down now and score a mark out of 9 here. All right, how are you going? Hope you're getting some marks there. Let's look at question 4. Find the value of the pronumeral in each of these. So the first one, we want B, so we can see that's the side adjacent, and this is the hypotenuse. Remember, go to the angle, look out, that's the opposite. Go to the 90, look out, that's the hypotenuse. So we can say B over 15 equals the cos of 34. So B equals 15 cos 34. And if you do that on a calculator, you get these approximately 15.4. And remember the convention. You round it off to 3 significant figures unless otherwise stated. So what have we got there? 1 for the statement, 1 for the answer. Let's go down to part B. Here what can we say? That's the opposite. Go to the angle, look out. This is the hypotenuse, opposite the 90. So what have we got? We've got the cosine of theta is 17 over 25. Or theta is inverse cosine, use a bracket on the calculator to be sure. And then if you do that, make sure the calculator is set up in degrees. It's approximately 47.2 degrees, and that's 3 significant figures. We go to 3 significant figures, remember, by default. If they don't say, then we go there. All right, so part C, let's just get this right now. Part C here, we want theta, the 90-degree triangle. This is the opposite. This is the hypotenuse. Okay, opposite the 90, opposite there. So this is the adjacent. Don't get confused with that. So here we can say that tan of theta equals, 26.3 over 18.7. Remember SOHCAHTOA? A good little way of remembering what each one is. Sine is opposite over hypotenuse. Cosine adjacent over hypotenuse. Tan opposite over adjacent. So therefore the theta here is inverse tan of 26.3 over 18.7, and then that comes to approximately 54.6 degrees, 3 significant figures. Okay, so same marks here. I left the marks off of this one. So 1 for picking the right ratio, 1 for the answer, and the same here, right ratio tan, 1 for the answer. So you have a mark here out of 6. Okay, let's go on now and have a look at this one. So this is the non-right angle triangle trigonometry there. We haven't got a 90, so we can't use SOHCAHTOA. So what we've got now is, what do you reckon? Well, we've got a side and the angle opposite. We want a side and we've got this angle opposite. So we can say x over sine of 51 equals 7 over sine of 56. So this is the sine rule. Okay, so therefore x equals 7 on sine of 56 times sine of 51. X has been divided by this. Get x back again, we'll multiply by it. So it's approximately 6.56. They asked this time for 3 significant figures. So you've got to have 3 significant figures there. All right, let's look at part B. Part B is trying to find an angle this time. And we have the side opposite and we have another pair. So the sine rule, it can be used here. The sine of theta over 123 is equal to the sine of 61 over 116. Good to put the reason, sine rule there. Therefore the sine of theta is this side multiplied by 123, and therefore theta is inverse sine of all that in brackets. And theta comes to be approximately 68.0 degrees, 3 significant figures, but look out, or 180 minus that. Did you get that extra mark? See how theta here is opposite the biggest side? So it could be, there are 2 angles which have that sign, one in the first quadrant, and the sign of angles in the second quadrant, being the y-coordinate, are also the same sign, so you don't know. It could have been 112 degrees. Okay, so there's 2 different ones there. So let's just mark this first one again. So there's 1 for that, and 1 for substituting in, 1 for the answer. That's an easy 3. And this one is 4. one for that, one for the rearrangement, one for that answer, but you needed to have the possibility of what's called the ambiguous case, isn't it? When you're finding the largest or the side opposite the possibly largest angle, there are two possibilities there. There's ambiguity because they both have the same value for sine. Okay, come on down now to part C, and in part C you can see, lots of C's here, you can see to find C in part C, you can't use cosine rule because you don't know completely a ratio of sine of the angle and the side opposite. So what we're going to do is we're going to say C squared here, because it's opposite the angle C, is 33 squared plus 24 squared. Take 2 by 33 by 24 by the cos of 95. Should put the cosine rule there. And if you do that on the calculator, you can do it all in one entry, approximately 1803.054, and you could have done the square root over the top of that as well, but we'll do the square root separately. Square root is approximately 42.5, and that's the three significant figures. We really should have this for rounding, approximate sine, or we can use this one and round it off. So there are 3 marks there, 1, 2 and 3. Now you get full marks if you've just had the right answer at the end. Obviously you've done that working. So in part D, what do you want? Same thing. Can't use the cosine rule because you don't know completely a ratio of the sine of the angle and the side opposite. So what we're going to do is to find that angle, we'll use the cosine rule. So the cos of theta is, now do you remember this one? 56 squared plus 45 squared, take 88 squared, rearrange formula of the cosine rule, and 2 by 56 by 45. And again, that's the cosine rule set up to find the angle. So theta is cos neg 1 of all of that, which is approximately 121 degrees. And that's been rounded to 3 significant figures. So there's one for the cosine rule, and one for here, and one for the answer. Okay, so this cosine turns out to be a negative in here, giving you an obtuse angle in the second quadrant. Remembering that cosine goes negative once you get past 180 in that second quadrant, and so it is a good detector of the largest angle. See here, it's opposite the largest side. So if given a choice, you would use the cosine rule. All right, so there is a total out of 9 there, 3 threes, so keep a tally of that. Okay, come down now, and let's look at question 6. Got a little question here about a bike frame, so let's have a look at that now. So here, find the length of the chainstay. Well, you've got to read all this. Top tube, down tube. Here it is, the chainstay down there. So let's withdraw from the diagram the piece that we want. So this is 39 degrees, this was 66, this is 65, and let's call it CS chainstay. Now in that sort of configuration, it's going to be the cosine rule. So CS squared is 66 squared plus 65 squared. Take 2 by 66 by 65 by the cos of 39. And that's the cosine rule. Okay, so here you could put this in as CS is the square root of all of those, so approximately 43.7 centimetres. Again, we'll go to 3 significant figures because they don't say anything. So you either give your answer exactly if it's integral, or you go to 3 significant figures in this course. So we have that, we need to take the root of it, and then the answer out of 3 then. So how did you go with that? A little bit of an applied problem. So let's come down now to question 7. Question 7 is this dodecahedron. Okay, so it's 12 sides here in a dodecahedron. And you can count them up if you like, but what we've got here is, let's extract the triangles that we want. So here, this is 1A, B, C and there. Now can we find this angle? Let's have a look. 1, 2, 3, 4 sides out of 12, so that's a third, therefore, of the angle total revolution. So this is 120 degrees. So there's one mark for that. Okay, now can you see that this is going to be a half of 31.65? 31.65 divided by 2, and because it's a regular dodecahedron, this one would also be that. Okay, so what we've got is actually this. Rewriting it, 120, and that's 31.65 divided by 2 is 15.825. 15.825, if you like. All right, so you want the length of that AB length, so that is also going to be what? Well, we could use cosine rule. Don't know, that's long. Cosine rule is okay, but I think it's easier if you realise this is equilateral, isosceles, so these two are equal, therefore these two are equal, and by sum of angles of a triangle, that's got to be 30, and that's got to be 30. So there'll be one mark for getting that idea of 30 there, or for writing down the cosine rule, either way. And then, so the sine rule now is a little bit easier, because you can say AB over the sine of 120 equals 15.825 over the sine of 30, and so AB is 15.825 over sine of 30 times sine of 120. AB's been divided by that to get AB back again, times by that. So this is approximately 27.41, because we were asked for 2 decimal places. Okay, so what are the marks? Again, over here we've got one mark for the angle, we've got one mark for this one, or for the 30s, one mark here and one mark for the arts, of 4 marks. So it's important to actually analyse the question carefully and extract the triangle. All right, so that's out of 4. We're coming to the end now. I hope you've got some marks so far. So question 8, simplifying this, then fairly straightforward first one. 4 times x and 4 times 3, so it comes to 4x plus 12. Okay, so we'll just give 2 marks there, easy 2 marks there. Year 8 or 9 question there. Now neg 2x by x is neg 2x squared. Positive by negative is a positive. So negative by negative here is 18x. So there's a negative by a positive is a negative. Okay, so again, 2 marks there. All right, so this one is FOIL, first, outers, inners and last. X by x, x squared, plus 7x, take 3x, take 21. So grouping those up, x squared plus 4x, take 21. So 1 and 1. You actually should be able to go straight to there. All right. Out of 2, so see what you've got now. So this one, expansions, this is a special expansion now, so come down here. So we can see this is of the form A take B by A plus B, and that's a difference of 2 squares. That's A squared take B squared. So we can go straight in and put it down. 5 squared take, be careful, it's all of the second term squared. So it's 25 take 9x squared. Okay, and again 2 marks there. Alright, so let's go keep going now in question 9. Factorising, the opposite process to expansions. So let's have a look at it. We want the highest number that will go into both, that's 3. And then the highest pronumeral in each case, that's an x. Then what do you multiply 3x by to get 9x squared? To get 9 you need a 3, and you also need another x. Okay, so then what do you multiply 3x by to get 3xy? You just need plus y there. Okay, so again 2 marks, one for that and one for the inside of the brackets there. Alright, come down now to this one. We're looking for a common factor. So here, what can we say? There's a common factor. It's bigger than some of the little ones we've had, but put that out the front as you would normally. X take 4, and then another bracket. What do you multiply x take 4 by to get this first term? You need an a, plus what do you multiply x take 4 by in there to get the second term? You need a plus 6. So there's one for each of those brackets. All right, let's have a look then at the next one. So 3p squared takes 75. All right, so there's stages here. Take out the common number factor first. 3p squared take 25. 3's into 75 goes 25. And then that equals 3. Now this is p squared take 5 squared. So it's p plus 5 by p take 5. Remember that difference of 2 squares. Factors back to that. So we've got 1 for the common factor, 1 for the answer. Just 2 there. Okay, what have we got here? Let's do 2 stages. That's a square, and so is 25. So again, it's one of those. A square minus a square. First term plus second. First term minus second. And then simplifying that, a plus 4, neg 1 plus 5 is 4. A neg 1 take 5 is neg 6. So we've got 3 for that one. 1 for recognising it's a difference of squares, and for then using it, and 1 for the simplification. Okay, in part E, let's have a look. Let's come back down here. So in part E, it's a square, but this one's not. So there's a trick here that you can actually use for this one, and that's to say it equals x plus 2 squared take root 3 squared. So it's a difference of 2 squares. That's not a perfect square, the second one, but then actually I think I've left one out, haven't I? I have to come back up to that. So here it is, x plus 2 plus root 3, x plus 2 take root 3. So there's 1 for that and 1 for this. Let's go back up here now. So we have a common factor of 5. So it's 5 outside of x plus 3 squared take y squared. Okay, so then it's 5x plus 3 plus y, x plus 3 take y. Okay, so that one is worth a bit more, so we could say 5 for taking out the common factor of 5, and then 1 for each of the brackets to give you 3. A little bit harder, that one. Okay, a couple of questions to go. I hope you're getting good marks here. You're working hard. Okay, so come down. Question 10. For the following binomial expansion, find the first 3 terms. Well, you might realise with the binomial, the coefficients, the numbers in front of the terms, are given by Pascal's triangle, also given on the calculator, or you can calculate them if you're good enough by hand, but we will, in this course at this stage, put them down like this. Remember, the sum of these two give the next row. Sum of these two give the next row. So this is 1, 6, 15, 20, 15, 6, 1. We want the first three terms. But do you remember the order of those terms? Okay, it's the highest power of x, no power of 2. Then 1 less power of x and 2 to the 1. Then 1 less power of x and 2 to the 2. Okay, so that's the pattern. And then, of course, the number of terms comes from Pascal's triangle. There's one of them. What's the next number? 6 of that term and 15 of that term from Pascal's triangle. Okay, so therefore, our terms are, we wanted the first three terms, x to the 6 plus, now, 2 by 6, 12x to the 5th, plus, and 2 squared is 4 by 15, is 60x to the 4th. And then it keeps going, of course. There are 7 terms in the expansion. So let's mark that, that's 3 marks. So 1 for the order of the terms, 1 for the correct coefficients, and 1 for simplifying. Okay. All right, let's go down to 10 part B. For the following binomial expansion, find the constant term, that is the term which does not contain x. We might need that Pascal's triangle again. So I'll just put it there because it's still the 6 again. Okay, so let's start writing the terms. The first term is x to the 6 and no 1 on x. We won't put the numbers in the front. Then it goes x to the 5th and 1 on x to the 1. Then it goes x to the 4th and 1 on x squared. Then it goes x to the 3, 1 on x, I think that's it. Because 1 on x to the 3 is 1 on x cubed, and they would cancel, wouldn't they? You get the idea. So we want the number in the 4th position here. 1, 2, 3, this would be 20. Okay, so it's 1 mark here for recognising that that's a term, and 1 mark for the coefficient, and now we actually have to find that term. I think I only gave 2 marks, 4 marks here. So let's just have a look at the 4 marks. Yep, well, we've got to have a couple more here, so let's keep going. So the constant term is 20, because the others disappear there, so the constant term is 20. So that's the 3rd mark. I'll give you 1 mark for getting these earlier terms in. So 1 mark for getting the structure of the terms, 1 mark for realising it's this one, 1 mark for picking out the 20, and for stating that as the answer. So the x's all disappear there because they cancel out in this term. Just let's make sure of that. 1 on x cubed, 1 on x all cubed, comes to 1 on x cubed, and that term comes to 1. And you've only got Pascal's coefficient in front. Okay, a tricky one, that one. Okay, so let's look at part C. This is another slightly tricky one. A plus b cubed, find a and b. Now, if you wrote these terms down usually, it'd be a cubed, no b, then a squared b, and then a b squared. And it would keep going. And Pascal's triangle says you'd have coefficients of 1, 3, 3, 1. So we would have 1 there, 3 here, 3 here, and so on. But hang on, the first 2 terms are 8, so a cubed must equal 8, implies the cube root of 8 is a is 2. Then this creature, 3a squared b, is equal to 12e to the x. But a is 2, so substituting in there, 2 squared is 4. Okay, so using that, 3 fours are 12, they're both 12, so b is e to the x. Okay, so what are we going to have there? It's worth 5 marks, so I think we need 1 for this, 1 for this, and I think then 1 for b, and the remaining 2 terms of the expansion. Okay, so let's keep them going now and put them on the end here. The next one would be 3, a squared a, and 1, sorry, the last 2, So this would be 1b cubed. So in part B, the remaining 2 would be 3ab squared, which would be 3 by 2 by e to the x squared, which would be 6 e to the x squared, which, if you know some indices rules, it'll be 6e power raised to a power times them together. Okay, that one. And the other term would be b cubed on the end, which would be e to the x all cubed, which is e to the 3x. So the final marks would be for that line there. You don't have to have that at this stage, and that line there. So it's a total of 5 marks. Okay, a bit harder that one, a little bit of an extension that one. Okay, so let's go down the last question now. Find the information that's missing in each of the following simple interest. So simple interest is PRT over 100, and $2,400 is paid, so the interest is $2,400. Not a bad idea to put this down the side. Okay, the rate is 20%, and the time is 3 years. 3 years. So here it is. We don't know what the investment is. That's what's missing. So P times 20 times 3 over 100. Okay, I don't know whether you want to simplify that. 2,400 equals what? 3/5 of P. Cancelling that goes into that 5 times. Then P's been multiplied by 3 and divided by 5. Let's do the reverse. Multiply by 5 and divide by 3. And if you do that, you get 14, I think. 5 by 2,400 divided by 3 is 4,000, sorry. So 4,000 equals the principal that you started with at the beginning. So you had to find the information that was missing. And what was missing there was the principal. All right, let's go down and do the last little bit. Oh, hang on. We really need to put a mark on each of that. So the first thing is to put the numbers in correctly, then a rearrangement, and then the final answer. If you get the final answer there, clearly you have been able to do the calculation and you get 3 out of 3. It is always wisest, in case something goes wrong, to show the working for part marks. All right, this is the interest paid. So we've got I is known to us on an investment. So the principal is 20,000, and what do we know here? And the time was 9 years. So I is missing. Oops, sorry, not I. I in interest terms, but we call it the rate here, because we're going to use the formula for simple interest, which is this one. Okay, so let's put the numbers in. 25,200 equals 20,000 by a missing rate by 9 over 100. So if we cancel some stuff here, we've got 25,200 equals 1,800 P, if you like, and 1,800 R, sorry, 200 by 9, 1,800. So 25,200 by 1,800 equals R. And if you do that, I think the answer is exactly 14. So the rate is 14% per annum. Now, there'd be one for substituting the correct things in, one for rearrangement, and one for the answer, giving a total of 3 there. Remembering it's R that we don't know. So, how did you go? I hope you enjoyed yourself there, and I hope you got a few marks. That's very important. Go back over it and see what you missed out on, and just check of what I've said there. All right, good luck with the actual exam. Cheers for now.